We are live.
All right. Hi, everyone. Good evening. I am Varidhi from Careers 360, and I have with me my colleague Gauri Rane. We welcome you all to this session on careers in space sciences. Thank you so much for joining us. It is indeed our proud privilege to have with us our distinguished speaker for today, Padma Bhushan Dr. B Suresh, Chancellor, Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology, Trivandrum. So although he's a man who needs no introduction, but I would still want to tell you a little more about him. Awarded the Padma Bhushan in 2013, Dr. B Suresh is a renowned aerospace engineer and a pioneer in Indian space technology who has worked on launch vehicle design, aerospace navigation, control and actuation systems, vehicle electronics, modeling, and simulation. During his career at the Indian Space Research Organization, that is the Isro, spanning 4 decades, he shaped the space program and guided it from pivotal positions. He is the founder director of the Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology, Trivandrum, established by the Isro. Known for his contribution to the space capsule recovery experiments, Dr. Suresh was formerly director at the Vikram Sarabhai Space Center. His publications include the well-received Integrated Design for Space Transportation Systems 2016. Thank you so much, sir, for sparing your valuable time and joining us to address our students today. And without much ado, I would request you to please take over. One other thing I would want to share with students, now Dr. Suresh will speak to you for some time, and post that we will throw open the floor for question and answers. Thank you. Sir, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. And particularly to Varidhi Gupta, because this was to be conducted quite some time back, for some reason got postponed. Nevertheless, what I would like to do is, what I was asked to tell is what are the opportunities in space sciences, you are told, but I have made it a little wider. It's not only science and engineering, because they go both hand in hand. Without engineering, no science comes. Without science, no engineering comes. That's how it is. And, with the present day generation, they would like to wet their hands and then do more work, which is essentially engineering. We can sort of take questions in all of them. What I have done is I have put a very small capsule of about 8 or 9 slides for students to first to get a feel of what it is, what are the opportunities, what it is, how the once you join Isro or Isro activities, how it feels like. Or if nowadays there is a tremendous thrust to go for startups, and you are aware that the department is encouraging, government is encouraging to come out with the startups, and they have created yet another wing of ISRO in space, basically to help the youngsters to tie up with ISRO, to use their facilities, carry on the tasks. So you can see the opportunities have multiplied over a period, particularly in the last 2 to 3 years. So one, I think, who is very keen to get into this area should work very hard, and whatever doubts that you may have, get it clarified and make sure that one day you are in either in ISRO or in carrying out the activities related to space science and technology. So with this brief introduction, I would like to share the screen. Can you allow the sharing? Oh, that's okay, yeah. As it comes on the screen?
Yes, sir. We can see the screen, sir, yes.
Okay. And is it available full screen now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is basically we are always guided by the vision of Sarabhai. That's why we always highlight that small little write-up, whatever is there. I see whether any pointer option is there. Okay. I think now we can see the pointer, I suppose. This is the guided principles on which ISRO started way back in 1960s, and even today we are pursuing our all developments. Although it's a government department, we are focusing towards national development, and in order to do that, you have to pursue the research in the cutting edge technology of space science, planetary missions, and all other related technologies. Now, just 1 minute. Yeah. What are the policy initiatives? Basically, we always look for the best recruit, right placement, try to imbibe ISRO values. ISRO has its own culture. I think we may debate it once I finish what is that I'm meaning. But basically, it opens the canvas of opportunities and excellent professional ambience and rewarding career. Okay. So if you are really interested to make ISRO as the destination of your choice, you are most welcome. And of course, the certain things are all known. One of the very credible employer, although it's a government agency, and the technical challenges are too many because it's a one-time operation. Either it works or it doesn't work. If it doesn't work, then it's a big problem. I think it will flash as a big news next day in all newspapers. And if it is really coming successful, I think it's one of the achievements. Then, of course, the environment, what is created, we can debate. What are the growth prospects? I will quickly run through. There are lots of other welfare schemes, compensation, and all these things which are there actually. Now, what are the technical challenges in the job or in study or in research? Basically, one organization, it has grown so well for the simple reason that it was all started with Sarabhai, then promoted by Professor Satish Dhawan, the giants, and of course nourished by successive leaders. The one thing is the professional freedom in all our development efforts and the technologies, when I say both in science or engineering, they are really one end of the cutting edge technologies. And mind you, they are not available if you want to get some data from someone, because these are all considered as the guarded technology, guarded science. You don't get that. So also in order to do that, we have to establish excellent infrastructure and facilities. I don't know how many of you had the chance to visit any of the laboratories. So this is certainly one of the just 1 minute. Okay, sorry about that. There was a call and I cut it out. Basically one important thing is, unlike the other areas, when it comes to space or strategic defense or atomic energy, these are the three called as a strategic department, demand very high quality and reliability. Okay. Then of course, I can tell you for sure that if you are able to get into ISRO kind of activities, it's a very, very rich job content. You can see that. And of course, it provides you very, very high potential for learning and development actually. And environment is highly talented team. And another thing is, it's a national character. ISRO is totally cosmopolitan, end to end in terms of from Kanyakumari to Kashmir and from east to west. And another thing is it's a multidisciplinary work settings and it always encourages the teamwork culture. That is important. We work like a team. That's what I mean as a culture. And another important thing I would like to mention is we always come out with a very focused program, not just working for today or tomorrow. We have a very well-drawn profiles like decade profile, 5-year, annual. And of course, the many of the activities are project driven. You would have heard about the launch vehicle program, satellite program, application program. And of course, we give a lot of encouragement for the professional freedom, sharing, caring, and of course, a lot of delegation also is given. When it comes to the career opportunities, there is a well-defined cadre and career path. That's one of the reasons I think people are all sort of glued to their own providing the highest contribution to the organization. And of course, the growth is linked to the individual excellence. Automatically it comes out. You can't just like that, being a government department, I do what I want. That doesn't help you. So the career growth very closely linked with that. Then, of course, the promotion goes with that. Then, of course, there are lots of other recognitions are given time to time. Then, of course, the advantage is the employees who are in Isro, they play a very major role nationally as well as globally, because today it is considered as the one of the important. Now let us look at the opportunities that are available. We have opportunities for all, whether it's the science, physics, chemistry, mathematics. Now with the human space mission coming, the biology also has come into picture. Then of course on the administrative side, we have a lot of openings in terms of administrative capabilities in economics and administration. Then of course the technician level we take for all kinds of technicians, and you name any branch of science and engineering, we take them, whether it is computer science, mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, physics, chemistry, mathematics, you name it, because we are a multidisciplinary organization. And of course, the various activities that are supporting also, they have been listed here. And of course, how do we take is, there are 2-3 things. One is we have our own institute. It's called Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology. That is one route you can come. If you are able to get in, that gives an excellent opportunity to get into ISRO. Then, of course, every year we do centralized recruitment where there is a written exam, then after that interview and then take them. Then, of course, the area wise, depending on what area they want, center will pool it, and then based on that, we take it forward. And I mentioned you that the Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology is one of the important areas where we give little more specific training with respect to the cutting edge technologies. That is one important. And also we have a lateral also we take at higher level, but it's a very, very small number. Okay. Now, of course, I mentioned, see, this is one end of the spectrum to another end, like electronics, mechanical, computer science, production engineering, so on and so forth. And both in the BTechs, MTechs, PhDs, all are in fact, we take similarly MSc in physics, chemistry, mathematics, and also the doctorates doing in the science areas actually. And of course, today, after the pay commission, fourth pay, I'm sure some of you might be interested today. It's at the entry level, it's a really very good salary, as even private companies won't pay that. But this is just over and above that, we have almost 30 to 40% of other emoluments that are available, which have been agreed by the government of India. See, like there are many, many incentives. You can see the organizational incentive, group incentive, individual incentive, professional update allowance. There are a number of them, and you can see that somewhere between 35 to 40% of the total pay, what I showed. So at the entry itself, you will get a fairly large sum, and one need not worry about that. Then, of course, we provide after joining, not that while we encourage you to work on various things, we also provide number of trainings. It could be our own training which is there in Dehradun. It's the Asian Pacific. This is particularly for space science. I think if someone is interested, you can look into that. Then, of course, we conduct our own training program at the induction level. It's a very intense program, almost spread out 4 months. They visit various laboratories. Then also we have middle level, what we call structural training program, management development program, then space studies program, various things. Some of them, of course, with the international collaboration. Then, of course, we also send them to sponsor training program to academia within the country and elsewhere, actually. And of course, if you join, let us say at MTech or something, there are a lot of opportunities to get higher education, not only within India, elsewhere, and we provide sponsorship. But all this you have to earn. It's not that it's automatic. Similarly, the encouragement is given to mix with people both here within the country and elsewhere. Then, of course, our people in ISRO have been really competing with several other organizations in seeking the awards, and there are huge number of them waiting for the people to look at it. Then, of course, we also have in academia tied up with major institutions in India, Indian Institute of Science, almost all prominent IITs, and we sort of have a very close interaction, not only in pursuing the education, in carrying out the task, then getting the training program and all that. Then, of course, the Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology also provides opportunities. If you are from some other university, you can try to register for MTech or try to register for PhD, you can do that. And of course, the once you join and you want to pursue studies for MTech, let us say 2 years, the sponsorship is given with the salary. You continue to get earn as well as do the studies that you can do. Then, of course, the pursue higher study like doctorate, that is also encouraged. But all that you have to earn, as I mentioned actually. Then, of course, we have number of welfare schemes. I will not get into that. If someone is interested, we can discuss that. But you can see that a whole host of them which is there. And be it travel, be it taking leave, going around under leave travel concession, or constructing the house, or having our own library facilities. Medical scheme is one of the excellent medical schemes that we have. Either you or your family members, you don't need to spend a single paisa on any of your medical requirements, not only during the service, even after retirement, till a person is alive, till that time it is covered. These are all some of the very grand schemes that we have actually. So also merit. Merit is purely based on how you perform, linked with the performance. There is a well laid out norms on that. If you are really good at it, you keep moving as per the norms. Otherwise, it gets elongated, almost like a rubber, and it takes time to reach out. And of course, over and above the norm, also we see if people are really meritorious, they get an advantage and get, let us say, 5 years, you are eligible for the next promotion. It may happen within 3 years, within 4 years. This kind of advantage also is there. And this is how in the ladder, you keep moving one end to another end. This is almost equivalent to the government secretary level, and most of the senior people, they reach this level without any difficulty. So you can see the number of years that you need to dwell. This is only to tell you that, you know, it is something very unique, and and at the same time, it's not just only work. I think there are lots of opportunities for you to really spend time usefully, both in terms of sports, other activities, many other publications. If you want to write, you can sit down and do. All these things are being encouraged actually. So this is in a nutshell. I wanted to give you a glimpse of what ISRO is in terms of carrying out the technical activity, entry points, how you move, what you do. I didn't want to spend too much time because it is better that we answer your questions, specific questions. And with this, I leave it at this. And now we are open for questions. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. You can perhaps stop the presentation.
I will stop the presentation. Yeah. How do I stop that?
Sir, it's okay. I'll do it on your behalf.
You just take it out.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Now I think we can have an open session, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, definitely. So students, if you have any questions to ask Dr. Suresh, we would be happy to have you use the reaction button, raise your hands, and we shall give you a chance to ask your question one by one. Sir, we already have a few questions in the chat bot, which I would like to put forward on behalf of the students. So, sir, the first question would be, sir, what is the fundamental difference between aeronautical engineering, aerospace engineering, and avionics? Is there a difference? And if yes, then what?
Well, strictly speaking, no. But traditionally it has come like this. Aeronautical started long time back, mainly dealing with the aircraft, all flying objects. That's how the aeronautical engineering has come, which sort of looks into different aspects. But the space took birth from aeronautics. Then the space came, but space also, when we talk about, let us say, missiles or launch vehicle or spacecraft, they are all, which leaves the ground, but then goes deep into the beyond atmosphere. Whereas all aircraft, hovercraft, or all these things, whereas these things go even as high as 36,000 kilometers for the geosynchronous orbit of the communication spacecraft. So that way it becomes space. And second thing is, there is no man involved in space activities unless it is a human space. Even then, their interaction with the machine is very little. Unlike aircraft, the pilot is very closely involved, and there is a human being to take care of the situation. Whereas in space, everything has to be automated, programmed, and it should work as your plan. So space comes. So at one point of time, people thought, why we should have this kind of differentiation? Why can't we combine aeronautics and space? That's how the aerospace has come. Now, avionics basically is again electronics. Electronics, like your electrical engineering, communications, the computer science, all related areas. But then the electronics for aeronautics, either it is aircraft or spacecraft or launch vehicle, they have very high reliability. That means the aviation is the word coming for all our aircraft. So aviation, electronics, they combined it and made it avionics. That's how it has come actually. And really, strictly speaking, there is no difference between any of these things. It's only a question of when you say aerospace, you get a little more expertise and details available with respect to space, whereas in aeronautics, you will not get. Similarly, when you take electronics and communication, it's more or less identical, excepting, in terms of meeting the very stringent requirements of aerospace, particularly aircraft, spacecraft, how to do it, what is it, high quality components you should get, they call, mill grade component. These are the additional aspects will come into picture. I think this is good enough for you to understand, and depending on your interest, you can pick up what you want.
Yes, sir. Yes. So, sir, the next question from one of the students would be that is it necessary for a student to have a strong base in maths and physics to be able to pursue space sciences?
200% required. If you want to get into science and engineering without having the basic fundamentals very strong, particularly physics and mathematics, it would be very, very difficult for you, because everything is physics, and the implementation is through mathematics and through projects and chemistry too. And now, of course, biology also comes into picture. That's why what you learn in school is extremely important. And if you look carefully in engineering also, there are a number of courses offered in physics, chemistry, and mathematics, depending on what subject. For example, you take chemical engineering, a lot of chemistry, again, they give the repetitive courses. Same thing on physics, same thing on mathematics. Mathematics is really very high. No engineering stands without mathematics. Science also, if you want to really build a mathematical model, analyze, it becomes very important for you to have the physical concepts and how to model using the mathematics. Then, of course, bring the various aspects of chemistry. Chemistry, in my opinion, is almost similar to mathematics, because that's how you generate the chemical composition and build on that, and how the various things grow. I'm sure that the number of students who have studied chemistry would appreciate it. We call it as organic chemistry. So that is how all these subjects come. And the answer to the question is yes, it is very, very important. But you don't worry. You don't ever think that I'm good in one subject, I'm not good. I think it's only your mental framework. Let it come out of that, put your heart and soul into that, you will understand. Of course, what we do every day, even in our regular routine household activities, physics and chemistry will be there, and mathematics. These things are very fundamental.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So we see a few hands raised, and we would like students to ask their questions themselves.
Yes, please.
So Smriti, Devanita, can we start with Smriti?
Yes, can you please unmute yourself, Smriti? Yes, please ask your question, Smriti. Ma'am, I think she's having some issues with her audio. Can you move on to the next?
Yes, please. Farohar.
Yes.
Okay, so a very, very good evening to sir. My question to you would be that is Isro ever looking forward and having any future plans for a private company to come in and launch their payloads for them, sir? Like how currently NASA is doing, like if they are allowing SpaceX to do that, ferrying astronauts to the International Space Station?
That is the whole idea, the reforms that have been brought in the last 2 years by Government of India is precisely that. Why the space activities of building the satellite, having the launches should be the prerogative of only Isro and Government of India. We must enable the private agencies to start and do that. But then it has two components. One is having the intellectual capital, second is the financial capital. So when it comes to establishing the facilities, they are all very, very expensive, and you can't start. And once you start any business as a private agency, you don't do it like government for the sake of it. You have to generate funds, you have to make profit, you have to make living out of that, you have to provide employment. There are several other angles associated with that. So it becomes important for you. That's where Government of India has come out with the idea, when you start, ISRO will hold your hand. ISRO will enable you to carry out the various tests. Certain tests are the facilities requirement all run into crores. They can't invest themselves. So that's where you can come and then carry on the tests. We will support you. And also how we achieve that very high reliability, we will guide you, all these things. And I'm very happy to say that already quite a good now, at least half a dozen agencies have started work on building satellite, building launch vehicle in different parts of the country. And this activity is going on quite well. That's why I made a statement in the beginning. Now the situation has changed from what it was from 5 years back to now. I think you people who are really having a lot of energy and ideas should come out with your own startups and take it forward. So also the financial support also is forthcoming from several agencies. Okay.
Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Can we have the next question from Sandhya, please?
Yes, ma'am. Sir, I wanted to ask that is it possible for a student to do two courses at once, for example, astrophysics and engineering?
It's possible. I will not say not possible, but focus gets lost. It's not important to complete 2 courses, 4 courses, 5 courses. I think what we have to set ourselves goal is, what is that I want to become? Whether I would like to become a specialist in astrophysics and astronomy, these kinds of things are required. Or whether I'd like to become one of the top level engineers in communication or in aeronautics, what exactly I want to become. So if you do this kind of khichdi, you are sort of left with, it's all okay initially, but at some point you want to become a specialist, you must have your goal set pointer very clearly defined. Then I think it becomes very useful actually. Okay.
Okay, there is one more question that has come to us. What if a student who has completed their BTech program from IIST and has found a placement with ISRO, what is the career progression for such a student?
I told you, career progression is very clearly I defined that. Only thing is you have to be performing. You reach the top level, almost equivalent to chairman ISRO level, although you may not become chairman for various reasons, because we don't have what you call promotion against the post. We have a different scheme in ISRO, not only ISRO, in atomic energy, ISRO and DRDO. As long as you are eligible, you get the promotion. And that career progression is very good. In fact, most of the people who are performing, they reach the top level very soon. And after that, they'll be left with something like anywhere between 7 to 8 years in that saturated scale. So that tells you that this is, of course, as per the government rules and regulations. You can't compare with the salary what you get otherwise in private companies, but you will not get the kind of challenges and the respect that goes with these kind of positions in government departments.
Correct.
All right. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, should we go to the next one? Next
Yeah.
student, please.
So next question from Sangeeta, please.
Sangeeta, can you please unmute yourself?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir,
Yes, please ask your question, Sangeeta.
so what is the difference between EEE and ECE?
Can you repeat the question? I didn't get it. Can you repeat the question?
Sir, what is the difference between EEE and ECE?
EEE.
That is ECE is electronics and communication engineering. The other one is purely electrical engineering. You know, in the electrical engineering, you don't get to learn the communication aspects. So it depends what are your interests. For example, all electric machines, electric circuits, electric drives, all related things you will, like motors and AC, DC, etc., in the entire electrical. Whereas you learn part of electrical and then communications. Communication, what is so very important nowadays in terms of different bands, different, the ground terrestrial communications, the telephony, the satellite communications, so on and so forth. And all the theories that are associated with that. Generally, people opt for electrical and communication, ECE, because they become much more saleable and useful rather than becoming only electrical. But there are people who would like, continue in that. So, for example, you can work in high energy sector, energy area. You want to work, your EE will become very useful because you will be learning many other subjects associated with the energy, non-conventional energy and other sources, the batteries. There are many, each area is rich by itself, but it depends on your interest. I think somewhere you should develop interest, which one you would like to go, and then take it, depending on that. But I can tell you the opportunities are one and the same for all, as long as you excel in whatever you are taking. You should not do a half-baked job at any point of time.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir. The next question we can take from Sudhish.
Good evening, sir. I wanted to know what kind of space projects do Isro have for astrophysicists and in field of astronomy?
No, astronomy and astrophysics, there are plenty of projects. In fact, the major centers which are working are that presently is Physical Research Laboratory in Ahmedabad. Then, of course, there is also one activity going on in UR Rao Satellite Center in Bangalore. Then, of course, there is yet another center called the Space Physics Laboratory at Thiruvananthapuram. It's again a science laboratory, loosely attached to the Vikram Sarabhai Space Center. Then, of course, Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology. So the number of activities go on. That's where they build the telescopes, then try to understand the universe, try to build their own theory, learn astrophysics, and we built our own satellite. You are aware, I suppose, AstroSat. It's purely based on astronomy and astrophysics. So that is built by and large, the engineering is done by satellite center, whereas the scientific portions are done by the physical research laboratory and some of these laboratories. Not only that, I think there are very good laboratories which are there in India, not linked to space, like Ayuka in Pune, and that's where a lot of astronomy work that goes on, and Indian astronomy and astrophysics in Bangalore. There are many organizations and universities. That's why I said that if you are keen to pursue in that, I think you should have the love towards astronomy and astrophysics and take it forward.
Yeah. So thank you, sir. So the next question will be from Sidhu.
Good evening, sir. Myself, Siddharth, and my question is, what's the scope of astronomer in India in the future? Is it possible to become astronomer in India? Because I love space and galaxies, sir. I'm pretty interested in Andromeda and Proxima Centauri. So can you tell me?
It's a good question. My feeling is India is really, is something is going to become one of the very, very prominent nations, and so much so in science and technology. And we are all looking for youngsters to really take these kind of activities here and even build one huge astronomical laboratory in India, like others have done. But that's where the group of youngsters, they have to join, come up with a vision. Like Sarabhai created the space, Baba created atomic energy, and I think one Sidhu should come out with the building a big astronomical center in
yes, sir.
In India and take it forward. So yes, I can tell you the opportunities are plenty. Government is fully supportive, but you have to sit down and come out with the clear blueprint of what is that you would like to do and where do we stand. And we should not do what others have done. That's no good. I think we should come out with the idea of what others have not done. We have to visualize and what is to be built, how to shape it. That's where some of the youngsters can join. In my opinion, the answer to your question is yes. I think that's one area there is not much that has happened. And as one of the developed countries, maybe 10 years down the line, I can visualize. And we must build our own capability and strength to build. And you can't wake up after 10 years and then start thinking.
Yes, sir. I'm extremely interested in what is hidden in the Andromeda and Proxima Centauri. When I asked to my teachers, they were 100% sure you can't become astronomer in India because there were really poor jobs which are available in India, and you need to have a higher studies. You need to go to UK or US somewhere else.
No, that answer in a way is correct. I wouldn't say wrong. Why? Because thinking has changed. See, I think all you youngsters should stop seeking a job. I think that's what the thinking in the country like ours has come, and it has happened. And you would have heard, the startups have come, and we have become the third country in the world next to US and UK to have the more startups. I think we have to become job provider. That's why I use the sentence that we have to think how to build a huge astronomical setup, not that you look for a job. I think, they are all sort of age, I'm quite aged, but still I think my thinking is different. So we have to come out of that and think like almost 20, 22 years youngster and think, what is that I should do? That's what Kalam did. That's what Sarabhai did. That's what Baba did. All in younger days, they could think and do that. And I think as long as you have fire in your belly, you must think like that. And you should not worry about looking for job, looking for promotion.
Yes, sir.
That the younger age, I think, when you are in school or college, you should shape up, work towards that. You may fail. That doesn't matter. I think, failures are the stepping stone for success. And unless we challenge ourselves, we are not going to go anywhere. So that's what we should do. And you should provide for opportunities for at least another 25 people in this area, build it and become the world leader. And I visualize a situation where down the line, 25 years down the line, they must say, there is one huge astronomy laboratory in India. We will send our people to India to study and then take it forward. We must
Yes,
think
sir.
big. Okay.
I'm not going to worry if I don't get the job, but I need to know
No.
everything what is in the space.
You will certainly get the job. See, one
Yes,
thing
sir.
I can tell you.
But I need
as
to know
long as
everything in the
As
space.
long as you excel in whatever you are doing, don't worry about the job. Job will come to you automatically. But
Yes,
what
sir.
is important is you have to excel. When I say excel in terms of carrying on the work, then carrying the research, publishing the papers, interacting with your peers, automatically your name will come out very clearly. So and so is good. So I think we can rely on that guy. That's how one must take it forward.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Can we have the next question from Shankar, please?
Hi, sir. Good evening. This is for my niece, and first of all, I'm extremely thank you to participate to give us a knowledge regarding the space and IAST. We are extremely happy. So my question is that my niece just completed +2, and she is interested in AI, artificial intelligence, but she is also interested to join in ISRO after the course. So whether any scope is there in ISRO for the AI engineers?
Well, AI is not a subject to be studied. AI is a skill. I think they must first study. AI can be used anywhere. In your own mobile data, that what you are having today, I can use AI. Internet, whatever you are using, you can use AI. And in your own habits, what you do every day, morning to evening, and by getting that kind of data using AI, I can tell you what are your interests, what is that you have in mind. That mind reading can be done. So it's a skill basically. There is nothing like you can't compare communication with AI. AI one can do in physics, one can do in chemistry, one can do in history, one can do in economics, one can do in electrical engineering. That's a skill. Like people one time learned computer science, the programming, anybody can do that. So I think you will have to tell those people that that is a skill to be developed parallelly pursuing your own area of interest. You must log on to one of the important areas, be it science, be it engineering, or be it any other area. You should. Even the doctors can practice artificial intelligence in a big way, and that will help for them to handle the patients and all that. So it's not a subject by itself. I think it's a skill that has to be developed, just like you learn the computer programming of different kinds, Java and all that. Anybody can learn actually. So tell her that that has to be done in addition to having a focus on one of the important areas. That is one. And in ISRO, anybody who has the expertise in artificial intelligence definitely are preferred. No questions about that. But if you say that I have done only artificial intelligence and I got a degree in artificial intelligence, we may not touch them because we don't have, because basic science and engineering foundation is very important. You must be specialized in either physics or mathematics or electrical engineering. Then on that, top of that, you have the expertise of artificial intelligence. Basically, they are all what you call specialized courses and elective courses and knowledge acquired by your own interest. Today, my granddaughter who is in 8th standard, I think she has taken a course, and nowadays she does lots of things using artificial intelligence. For example, photo enhancement. Whenever I want something, I just ask her, can you do it? The old photo she takes and then using artificial intelligence, she enhances. That's a skill by itself. Whereas she is yet to cross 10th standard. So I think please don't go by all this nomenclature and get fascinated and lose your directions. Okay. Is that clear?
Thank you. Yes. Thank you, sir.
No, these are all some of the things I think in this discussion we have to tell them, because youngsters, you get fascinated and then get derailed. That should not happen.
Absolutely. Can we have the next question from the next student? Mosu?
Please unmute yourself, Mosam, and ask the question.
Yes, ma'am. Hi, sir. I am Mosam Shamanto. My question is, what are the qualifications needed for an aerospace engineering?
What is it?
What are the qualifications needed for an aerospace engineering?
Basically, we look for, I think already I told you, we look for aerospace engineering. Generally, you get BTech degree, Bachelor of Engineering or Bachelor of Technology, BE or BTech, depending on where you do. Then if you do post-graduation, you do MTech. Then you take some specialized area, you can do your doctorate degree. So these are the things you should do. And I would say that it's you'll be better equipped if you do at least post-graduation. After your BTech, you are able to do one of the areas of aerospace and do master's degree, spend the 2 years. I think your knowledge base will be much better than just having a BTech engineer. So that way you can specialize and come and contribute very significantly. And that's what we have experienced in our ISRO also. Okay.
Okay. There is one question that has come to us. What about students who cannot get into IIST and have to join private universities to study aerospace engineering? What is it that you would advise for these students to look at these universities and courses in private universities?
No, I wouldn't say private universities are bad. Possibly the private universities, you will have to spend a lot of money. That is one thing. Otherwise, there are really good private universities. They provide very good education. I don't see any big deal. Number one. Number two is their interaction with the agencies where things are happening. Like, for example, ISRO or DRDO or the atomic energy and or even some of the prominent Air Force. These are all government machineries, government action. Ultimately, they are all put to use because as a private, you can't start something and develop at this point of time. So some of these things lack, but we have students from both the government and private. But coming back to IAST, I would like to mention that our admission process, I think, let me make it very clear. The admission process is we require the students to write IIT entrance examination. They should get a rank in IIT, both main and advanced. And only then you become eligible for appearing for IAST interview. So that is the condition we have put because we wanted to get the cream of people from the nation, almost like IIT. So if you are able to sort of get a rank, but the entrance will not be as tough as IIT because there you have to get very high rank to get into IIT. We take at a much lower rank level, but that is the prerequisite. So with that only you can go forward.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Next question from Mankala. Can you unmute yourself and ask your question, please?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, sir. I am Mankala Vamsi. My question is that which courses is to become space scientist in Isro?
No, I didn't get your question.
Which courses is best to become space scientist in Isro?
No, there is nothing like space scientists. Essentially, they are all, I told you, they are all basically the basic courses that you do, like you do MSc physics, or let us say you do MTech in mechanical engineering, or ME in control engineering. We take people in the basic courses, basic course specialization we take. And when we talk about space engineering, it is essentially a combination of all these factors. No single engineer can build space systems because it requires mechanical engineering, it requires electrical engineering, electronics, the physics, chemistry. That's why it's all called multidisciplinary, number one. Number two is we also say that it requires some kind of team effort for people to work together and then build systems. When we build satellite, It is made up of mechanical parts, the electronic parts, then chemical, the propulsion is chemical part, and the theory that is used, basic physics, and mathematical model built is mathematics. So it becomes a combination of that. So if you want to really become space engineer, you pick up one of the areas and then try to excel in that. When we source people, what we look for is, we have no other way excepting to go by their competitive performance. So that's why it becomes essential for people to excel in whatever they are doing and look for opportunities and apply. Then, of course, once you join, after 1 or 2 years, you yourself will learn the tricks of the trade and become space engineer. That's how it happens.
Okay.
Okay.
So, sir, another question that we've received is, does ISRO recruit people having other academic backgrounds than in space sciences?
I told you, there is nothing like space science. I think it's
in engineering or space sciences per se. Sorry.
Let me make it very clear. There is nothing like space science specialization at all. It's all what you learn in our, all of us, for example, I'm basically a mechanical engineering, and at that time space was not there. All of us joined in the beginning with whatever we have specialized in our own way. Could be mechanical engineering, could be chemical engineering, could be electrical, computer science, all branches that you can think. So also we have people who are joined with MSc Physics, MSc Chemistry, MSc Mathematics, all of them they have joined. But engineering graduates will have a better opportunity because they are more in building systems. The science people, they are more into sort of assisting in doing the mathematical modeling, analysis, then building analytical models, things like that. But they can also join in the science dominated institutions where they do research, come out with publications, patents and all that. That also can be done. So don't have an idea of that I should have a degree in space, aerospace. That is not true. You can be any subject that you are excelling in science and engineering. I think you can certainly join ISRO and then become a space scientist.
So yes, sir. I think the student meant to ask that does ISRO offer placements for students who come from varying academic backgrounds, for example, management or other such backgrounds?
No. I mean, we may take a couple of people here and there, but they don't work in the space activity at all. That is, they are more related to like project management, system engineering, and they don't feel comfortable in the organization. I think better that those guys go and join some other institute where the management has a much better prospects. So the answer to that is yes, you can join. There are opportunities, but very, very thin. But at the same time, their movement in the ladder will become very constrained. So because they don't become as the mainstream activities.
Okay. Sir, okay, we will take the next question from Varshini. Can we please unmute her?
Yes, good afternoon, sir. I am Varshini's father.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, actually, she has completed her +2 just now and she is preparing for a JEE exam. I have two questions for you, sir. First one is, I came to know that IAST direct absorbs the students into ISRO. And is there any possibility with the same case from IIT Bombay or some other IITs which are offering aerospace engineering? That is my first question, sir. And second one is, what is the minimum rank for OBC non-creamy layer girl to get into IAST?
That the first question is first. It's only one has to get into IAST for direct absorption in ISRO. Okay, no IIT. They have an opportunity to appear. We have two systems. One is coming from IIT. We take about 25 to 30% through IAST route, but those who excel in studies in IAST, automatically the top rankers and all, they get observed, unless otherwise they don't want to continue. That's number one. And the remaining 60 to 70% are sourced through outside agencies, because we want to give an equal opportunity for everybody. So one who has studied in IITs or in university or anywhere, any engineering college, as long as we have the following system, that is, when we advertise, we apply. I mean, we advertise saying that the one must have BTech in such and such an engineering, and the above first class should be there. That is a prerequisite. But when the applications come, they run into lakhs. So what we do, we sort of rising the bar to see where the cutoff comes. For example, let us say 10 posts are there. We call something like maybe 1 lakh students to write the exam all over the India. So depending on that 1 lakh, the percentage cutoff takes place. We don't know what it is. So okay, wherever they have studied, then they write the exam, and that gets evaluated. And again, for 10 seats, roughly we call about 100 students to interview, 100 or 120, and 10 get selected, just to make your doubts very clear. So anybody can enter into Isro from any angle. Even today that's happening. But Iast, they are lucky guys if they are really, but there is one important thing is they have to work 5 years without leaving the organization. There is some kind of constraint also has been imposed, because the very fact that they get direct entry this country, otherwise if they join, leave after 3 months, the whole system will suffer. This has gone through detailed debate and discussions, and that's how we do, and that is what is being done actually. And as far as the subjects are concerned, I think I have been telling again and again, any subject should be all right for them to get into ISRO. There shouldn't be any difficulty really.
Yeah, yes, sir. And my second question was actually, what is the minimum OBC NCL rank for girl to
that is difficult to say, because see, what really happening is that I think it can go anywhere between 6 to 7,000, 8,000. It may go. Sometimes it will stop at 2,500. That's why I can't specify, because what really happens is it depends on the batch of students, and many of now the IITs have increased. IITs have increased all over India, and it keeps on increasing. And sometimes they prefer, okay, Iast is about 15 years old now. Better I go to Iast rather than going to some other new IITs like Ropar or something in Jammu and Kashmir. They may not go. Number one. Number two is if there are people from southern states, they prefer instead of going to some IIT in northern states like Guwahati or something, they prefer in the southern region. They look whichever is convenient. This kind of dynamics keeps on changing. So it will be very difficult. But if they are able to get good rank in IIT system, I can tell you they're pretty sure they get into Iast.
Thank
and
you.
Iast one other advantage is the number of students intake is very small. And we have a very good teacher-student ratio. Plus, they get exposure to all ISRO centers during the study phase itself. That is the biggest advantage, which no other institutions have that advantage. We have a very modern and sophisticated facilities all over the country, and they get exposure, they get opportunity to visit, interact with them. These are the advantages they have.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And we will take the one last question for today from Arsh. So do we have the time to take one last question?
Yeah. No problem.
Arsh, please unmute yourself.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you tell us the names of book which you may prefer to increase our brief in physics, maths, and also in space?
Can you repeat the question?
Can you tell us the names of books which you may prefer to increase our brief in physics, maths, and also in space?
Well, I really don't know, because I am not keeping abreast of the books, because the books that are available, mostly they are all tuned to how to maximize the percentage of marks in examinations, and that's how the people look at it. But there are books which are very knowledgeable. One has to go through that to learn many newer things. There are empty number of books, and I'm sure that your teacher should be able to guide in this matter rather than anybody else actually.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
With this, we would wind up today's session. Thank you so much, everyone, for your enthusiastic participation. And from the bottom of our hearts, Dr. Suresh, we would like to thank you for sparing your time to speak to us.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much. And we hope to see you again very soon.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
See you. Bye. Bye.